Hello, welcome to Acharya Nidana Academy. Today, we are going to discuss the one of the subtype of Abhyantara Hetu, that is Koshtha Gati, or otherwise Abhyantara Roga Marga, which is also being termed as Abhyantara Roga Marga. So, what actually this particular Koshtha Gati refers to? It's a type of one more type of the Abhyantara Hetu, that is the that means most of these pathogens which are being entering into the body, almost 95% of them, they are entering via the oral cavity. So that means, so these pathogens are doing the abnormal functioning or abnormal pathological events happening in the alimentary canal. As discussed earlier, it is also being termed as the Abhyantara Roga Marga. So that means it is the area of the human body which is present between the mouth to anus. So wherein the transformation, normally the macromolecules, they are going to get transformed into macromolecules. So here the pathogens or the vitiated dosha, their presence is only restricted to alimentary canal. As far as the presence of the pathogens are being concerned, the mouth, these pathogens may be present for longer amount of time if no proper oral hygiene is being maintained, such as brushing the teeth or the, what do you say, that the uh, tongue is not being properly curated. So like that, because of all these reasons, the pathogens that are being present in the mouth, they may remain for longer amount of time. Otherwise, these pathogens, they may be observed in the mouth for a period of 2 or 3 minutes during the phase of swallowing. So which is being termed as the transit time of the food from the mouth. So this will be entering into the esophagus. From the esophagus, it will be entering into the stomach within seconds. Hence, there is no possibility of the proliferation of pathogens in the esophagus. That can happen only if there is any obstruction is being present, such as the carcinoma of the esophagus or the cardiospasm, etc. When the food enters into the stomach, that may remain in the stomach for a period of almost 2 hours. After that, there will be the formation of chyme. This particular chyme will be entering into the duodenum. That means enter into the small intestine, wherein the food may remain for a period of almost 6 hours, wherein the transformation of macromolecules into intermediate molecules and macromolecules and intermediate molecules to get converted into micromolecules. When these food substances enter into the large intestine, so these food substances, which include the such as some minute micromolecules as well as the undigested food residue, so that may remain for a period of 1 to 2 days or otherwise 24 to 48 hours. So that means, so this particular the Koshtha is considered to be the presence of pathogens that will be observed only in the alimentary canal or gastrointestinal tract. Now, what are the events that are going to take place in the Abhyantara Roga Marga or Koshtha Gati? Most of the occasions, these pathological events happen because of the faulty diet pattern, such as adhyasana, wherein the food consumption will be observed before the emptying of the food present in the stomach into the duodenum. That is what is called adhyasana. Vishamashana, wherein the food substances consumed may be altered in terms of time and in terms of quantity. In terms of time, in the sense, sometimes the food will be consumed too early, or the food substances may be consumed too late. Whereas in terms of quantity, sometimes the food will be consumed very little amount. Sometimes the food will be consumed in very large amount. This is specifically observed in the specifically housewives or otherwise the people who are having the occupation of cooking. This is the second variety of the abnormal diet pattern. Then comes samashana, wherein wholesome and unwholesome food substances they are going to get consumed simultaneously, such as milk, a wholesome diet, spicy gobi Manchurian, an unwholesome diet. Both of them are going to get consumed at a particular time period. Then comes atyashana. Atyashana refers to the large amount of food is going to get consumed at a particular time period. Ayurveda says when a person starts consuming the food, so nearly around 75% of the stomach has to be having the food substances as well as liquids. 25% should be vacant. In case of atyashana, what actually happens is the person will be consuming the food throughout the capacity of stomach. Sometimes even the food may enter into the esophagus also. So this is what we can say atyashana. Viruddhashana refers to the consumption of incompatible substances simultaneously. Ayurveda says nearly 18 different varieties of Viruddhashana, specifically in Charaka Samhita. Let me give you an example. Consumption of milk and fish together. It is considered to be Viruddha. The consumption of honey and ghee together is considered to be Viruddha. So like that, so if the person is indulging in either Adhyashana or Vishamashana or Samashana or Atyashana or Viruddhashana, all they are responding abnormal functioning of the digestive system. As it is being mentioned, because of all these faulty diet patterns, more than 95% of the pathogens they enter through the alimentary canal. So that means enter through mouth, which will lead to the poor functioning of Jఠराग्नि. So these are the different different variants of the functioning of Agni. If the person is indulging in these faulty diet patterns, first and foremost thing that can occur is weak hydrochloric acid. So that means the optimum pH of the gastric juice should be 1.8 to 3.5 for the activation of a pepsinogen into pepsin. If the person is doing adhesion, etc., this pH will be increased more than 3.5. So that means wherein pepsinogen will not be converted into pepsin, which is responsible for the stasis of macromolecules in the stomach as macromolecules itself. Along with that, there will be reduced mucus secretion, which in turn results in gastric mucosal damage. So, most of us are consuming carbohydrate-rich diet. When the person is consuming a carbohydrate-rich diet, naturally, that will be responsible for the proliferation of microorganisms. When there is proliferation of microorganisms, the initial effect will be gastric mucosal damage. When there is gastric mucosal damage, that will be responsible for the inflammation. When there is inflammation is happening, the next phase will be inflammatory markers are being secreted in the stomach, which is responsible for influx of fluid into the gastrointestinal lumen. This happens because of increased oncotic pressure in the gastric lumen. Because of this, which can be considered as the state of prakopavastha. So, because of the stasis of the food in the stomach for longer amount of time, because of poor functioning of hydrochloric acid, because of inactivation of pepsinogen into pepsin, because of gastric mucosal damage, and because of the inflammatory markers presence in the stomach. So these macromolecules, they are going to get attached to the mucosal wall of the stomach, which in turn responsible for the entry of these macromolecules into the intravascular compartment of the stomach, which in turn enters into the bloodstream via lymphatics. The same mechanism can happen even in the small intestine as well as large intestine also. As the movement of the events, that is the pathological events, will be in the similar manner. So, the take-home messages from today's discussion are: Koshtha Gati is nothing but Abhyantara Roga Marga, or it is also being termed as Mahasrotas, the area present between the mouth to anus. That means whatever the pathological events that are happening in the Abhyantara Roga Marga, they are categorized under Koshtha Gati. 95% of the cases will be having the entry of the pathogens through oral route, which will be responsible for the disturbed functioning of Jaఠરાગ્નિ. Why we need to know about this particular phenomena? Because the Ayurveda believes in the Asanna Marga Harana, which is considered to be a treatment principle. That means whenever the person is having the entry of pathogens is going to happen in the oral cavity, that will be entering into the intravascular compartment. From there, it will be entering into interstitial compartment. From there, it will be entering into intracellular compartment. The line of treatment in this particular occasion is to bring the dosha or the pathogens present in the intracellular compartment into the alimentary canal, to move the pathogens from the interstitial compartment into the alimentary canal to make the movement of pathogens present in the intravascular compartment into the alimentary canal. From there, we are going to eliminate either through the oral route or rectal route. Dear members, that's all for today. Today we have discussed about the concept of Koshtha Gati. What are the major key takeaways from today's discussion? Mentioned in the comment box. And what would be the one particular topic that would you like to hear in this particular channel? Mentioned in the comment box. And if you are liking this particular video, then put a thumbs up and spread this particular video with the maximum number of true Ayurveda learners, so that we can make a huge movement out of this particular small message. That's all for today. Thank you.